Jaime Abril, Head of Business and Product Development bei Vantage Towers. Und ja, er wird darüber sprechen, wie TowerCos Digital Europe empowern, um so dieses Denglisch zu verwenden. It's your stage and ich weiß nicht, wird es auf Deutsch, auf Englisch sein? Englisch. English? Okay, so. Ein bisschen Deutsch, aber nicht so fließend. As you like it. Okay. The stage is yours. Danke.
So good morning, everyone. So these days we have seen a few presentations already, and this morning as well. And I don't know if you have noticed, but there has been a common thread. Can you guess which is this common thread? So it's 5G, private networks, okay. And the other two very, let's say, mentioned technologies are edge computing and AI. And when you put these three things together, 5G plus edge computing and AI, is this combination of these three now general purpose technologies is what is really making connected machines and connected mobility really to take a qualitative step forward. And today I'm excited to be here to talk about a new kid on the block that I'm not fully sure how familiar you are. Perhaps if you have gone around and have visited our stand, you have learned a bit. Which is tower companies. It's not a new kit in other parts of the world like the USA or Asia, but certainly it's in Europe. It has a very short history, and I will explain a bit. And those are tower companies, and many times shortened to TowerCos, okay? And today, my objective is that you learn a bit about what we do, and how we do it, and which are our customers, and how we are powering digital Europe, okay? So, about what we do. We build, manage, and operate telecommunication passive infrastructure. I will come later to this term passive, because one of the also objectives of these presentations is that you learn some TowerCo vocabulary. Yesterday, our colleague Lisa Underberg from IFAC mentioned that vocabulary was very important so that we can understand each other. So there will be a few terms that you will learn today, hopefully, and then you will understand a bit better our industry. So at Vantage Towers, we manage and operate 83,000 macro sites across 10 European markets. You have the numbers there. In Germany, for example, we are at 19.4K macro sites. There is a small number that I will come later as well because it's very relevant, which we call tenancy ratio. In Germany, for example, you can see it's 1.2 something. I will come later what this means. Macro sites, what are macro sites? Macro sites are mainly what we call ground-based towers. Probably you have seen them along roads, rail tracks, etc. And also rooftop masts, basically in cities where it's not possible to erect a tower, then we would take the rooftops to put the telecommunication equipment and antennas there. These are the main, let's say, assets of tower companies, but there are other assets as well, like microsite infrastructure. You can see there smart lamppost, for example, or even indoor DAS, distributed antenna system solutions as well, to cover stadiums and commercial buildings, etc. So, whom do we work for as TowerCos? So mainly mobile network operators. We have also other license operators, enterprises, and the public sector. And at Vantage Towers, we have more than 400 customers across these 10 markets. On the left-hand side, you can see a sample of mobile network operators. Probably you are very familiar with some of them. Some others are, let's say, other mobile network operators in countries like Portugal or Greece, Ireland, Czech Republic. So all the markets that you have seen, we are present. But it's not only about mobile network operators. That's the main, let's say, customer base. we are, as TowerCos, really going beyond mobile network operators and hosting as well other companies like IoT network operators, like Stadtwerke München, for example. They are using their IoT network for their own use cases. Sigfox, for example, now it's Unavis. Other low-power wide area network operators. And then we have as well fixed wireless access operators, broadcasting operators. We have Tetra private network, also operators. We have fire service departments. So you see it's a quite diverse set of, let's say, customers with different needs using different technologies. All of them we are hosting on our towers. So 4G, 5G, low power wide area networks, both public and private networks, is what are today powering connected mobile machines and mobility. So as a larger scale real estate infrastructure provider, specialized in telecommunication infrastructure, we do this in a secure, sustainable, and efficient way. And I will go one by one so you understand a bit better. So on the secure part, you will see on ground-based towers, but also on rooftops, some physical security features already, like fencing, shelters. We have access control, and we are monitoring our infrastructure. So we get alarms, access, and temperatures, a wide range of different alarms, some surveillance in some cases as well. The other feature, very important feature, is the battery backup systems, because some of those networks, I mean, public networks really need to have some backup, certainly, in front of blackouts. This is, let's say, established, standardized across the industry. But then we have mission-critical networks that require much longer backup, and we provide much longer, let's say, or bigger battery PSU systems to support these mission-critical networks as well. And of course, I mean, health and safety, it's of primordial importance for all of us, so all devices are installed and to make those sites safe from the physical standpoint, from the electromagnetic frequency emission standpoint as well. We are also doing this in a sustainable way. So we have many sites where we cannot connect to the grid, and we have to use solar, we have to use wind, any renewable energy that we can collect on site to power the telecommunication infrastructure there. Sometimes we have to add some let's say, until now, traditionally was diesel generators. Now we are moving towards lower emission devices, like, for example, LPG or in this case, hydrogen fuel cells, as you can see here. And it's not only about energy, but also about new structural designs. We are constantly let's say, innovating in this space together with our steel providers and also the materials that we are using. We are targeting net zero emissions by 2040, so that you see that we have really an ambition to do this in a very sustainable way. And last but not least, and this relates to the tenancy ratio that I explained before, or I mentioned before, we, as TowerCos, our mission is really to optimize the use of this infrastructure. And how do we do that? We deploy infrastructure not only to host one customer. We do that in some cases, but we try to share that infrastructure among various tenants, okay? And only in this way you can optimize, let's say, the cost, okay, towards our customers, but also you minimize the impact on the environment, okay? Instead of seeing that was, let's say, many years ago, you could see 3 towers, 4 towers, just 10 meters, 20 meters from each other. Now this is consolidated in just one tower with all tenants in that particular tower. There are also other synergies, of course, and for the passive infrastructure cooling, for example, also you can save quite a lot of energy. So that's the way that we do it. What is our main business, core business? Basically, it's two core services, one that we call co-location services. This is on our current existing portfolio of assets, bringing in tenants there. So we rent a space for telecommunication equipment and antennas, so both on the floor space, in the shelter or outside of the shelter, as well as on the vertical structures. Build-to-suit is basically creating new assets, in this case new towers or rooftop sites or DAS systems for customers that require that, because there is no other solution there. So normally customers would try to go and co-locate, okay, because it's going to be, let's say, more efficient for them. But if there is nothing, and you will have noticed that in certain areas there is no coverage, okay, public network coverage, so we have to deploy these new sites. And here you can see a bit the split of who owns what, okay, on a ground-based tower, for example. I will not go into detail, but just to mention also a new term in the TowerCos lingo is passive infrastructure versus active equipment. We call passive infrastructure all the passive elements, so the tower, the steel, all that the assets owned by Vantage Towers, including all the energy, power equipment, emergency equipment, the shelters, the cable ducts, etc. And we call active equipment everything else that the customer deploys on our side, which is mainly telecommunication equipment, antennas, even cabling as well, fiber optic, if there is need to be some front haul, backhaul, etc., microwave antennas, etc. So that's also for you when we talk about passive versus active. This is what it means in the TowerCos lingo. But we do more. That was co-location and build-to-suit. It's our core business, but we do more than that. And one of the things that we are doing is that we deliver full indoor coverage solutions as a neutral host. And 5G, if you want to really get the full potential of 5G, you have to move on to the C-band, which has been allocated precisely for 5G, 3.5 to 3.7 gigahertz. This is a very nice band in terms of what you can achieve with it, but it has the problem of penetration through walls. Okay, it's a higher band than the ones that have been used for 2G, 3G, 4G. And with this, we really are seeing a demand of indoor coverage solutions, and we will see a boom, actually, of indoor coverage solutions needed when the 5G, let's say the full powerful 5G on the C-band is deployed. And we offer different kinds of solutions depending on the venue, dimensions, and also structure. Okay, so it's very different to provide indoor coverage into a metro line than on a stadium or a commercial building or in a factory, okay? Dimensions matter, the structure matter, so we have categorized our solutions in these 4 product lines, repeaters, which is the simplest one, passive DAS, active DAS, and advanced DAS. I won't go into much detail, but here you can see that we are covering practically every kind of venue, and we provide the most efficient solution. It depends also on the customer requirements. And this can be applied for both public networks to extend the coverage of the mobile network operators, but also for 5G private networks. I mean, normally, if you want to provide a 5G private network in a building, in a factory, etc., you are going to need some sort of indoor coverage solution. 5G will, at some point, when the whole macro layer will be deployed at 3.5, the macro layer capacity will get exhausted, okay? And then, in order to cater for traffic hotspots, we will have to start deploying a micro layer, okay? And this micro layer, we will need to deploy with different kind of infrastructure, and here we aim at leveraging what we call the street furniture infrastructure. And the start of the street furniture infrastructure is our lamppost, But you have other, you have advertising panels, you have kiosks, you have signs on the stores, etc., that you can really leverage, okay? And the nice thing of lamppost, I mean, there is European Union's project called Humble Lamppost. Basically, we have in Europe around up to 90 million lampposts. More than 3/4 are really old, older than 25 years. And the European Union wants to upgrade 10 million of those lampposts. And the idea is to provide, let's say, all the technology around to power smart cities, all the use cases that we know. Air quality, digital displays, monitoring of the environment, including flooding, check for parking spaces, providing also EV charging points. So it's a whole range of smart city application that you have. And for that, powered, old, and connected through 5G. Here it will be public 5G, but it will be also private 5G, okay? So we are already starting, let's say, with this deployment. Obviously, we follow the customer demand. In this case, main customers are the mobile network operators. This is still far in the horizon, but it's not that far. They want to start now, because by the end of the decade, this will be, let's say, something that it will be mainstream. Okay, so the micro layer and the use of this infrastructure. And last but not least, very important, I mean, we are providing already indoor coverage solutions. The next natural step is to plug a core there. And with that, you have already a 5G private network. So for us, it's basically not a major step as a TowerCo, and be able to provide a full 5G mobile private network solution. I'm not going to talk about a lot about the benefits and why we would be using 5G private networks. I think that we have seen lots of very good presentations these days, but basically this is what is going to power Industry 4.0, right? So we believe there is going to now, and Germany, it's at the let's say very leading edge in Europe, starting from the regulator support, allocating industrial spectrum on 3.7 gigahertz, 100 megahertz. This is really a major step, because one of the issues is really to be able to operate yourself in an independent way and according to what you need. And having the possibility to get dedicated spectrum to do so, it's a major step. The technology is there. It's true that 5G, it's still developing and releases are coming up, etc. But the technology is there already to power many use cases, and you can see actually what the 5G, let's say, connectivity can bring. And together with edge computing on-premise and running AI, we can see already very interesting and powerful applications. I would like to conclude the presentation with some key takeaways. So first of all, I mean, Vantage Towers, as well as other TowerCos in Europe, okay, we operate as neutral host infrastructure. And we provide this leveraging already a quite pervasive and high-scale, high-quality site grid. Here we are talking about, let's say, deep rural, but also in the cities with very dense grid. At Vantage, we are operating across 10 markets in Europe. And we offer not only this, let's say, core business co-location and build-to-suit, but actually customized solutions fitting all industries and all customer needs. We have macro and microsite type, including smart lamppost. We are deploying indoor coverage solutions. And also we are deploying 5G private networks, IoT, smart cities, and rural solutions. We are doing this in a sustainable way. Again, 100% of the electricity today that we use is powered from renewable resources, and we are also using in remote areas low emission off grid, and also in sites where we are connected to the grid, we are also deploying solar panels and other solutions to minimize the consumption, the brown electricity coming from the grid as well. So that's, in a nutshell, what I wanted to cover today, to explain to you a bit that you understand this new kid on the block, that it's in the Industry 4.0 ecosystem. And also, I invite you really to get in touch, because I see many of the colleagues today here as partners of TowerCos, okay, like us as Vantage, in order to, for example, deploy 5G private network. We have seen already very cool products shown by Siemens, Maxware as well, lots of applications already. So we see this as partners of Vantage Towers, and also potential customers as well, right? So if there is someone operating a factory, I mean, we are very happy to start with some discussion around how we could provide that indoor coverage solution and plug a core there to have a 5G private network and get started in this 5G journey. Now it's the time to get started, so I invite all of you to really talk with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You said a new kid in town, but a very interesting new kid in town. Thank you for that. Are there any questions? Gibt es Fragen? Übrigens, ich weiß nicht, ob ich es vorhin schon erwähnt habe, für die Netzgemeinde quasi da draußen. Also Sie können Ihre Fragen hier auch natürlich loswerden und können in dem Chat-Tool, das Ihnen bereitsteht, die Fragen eingeben. Und wir sammeln diese dann und geben sie dann jeweils im Anschluss an jeden Vortrag an die Referenten weiter. So, but if there are no questions, I have one.
Okay.
You mentioned the indoor coverage and using C-band, and of course this is a big requirement for 5G private networks. What are there in these kind of projects? What are the main challenges there? Could you describe this?
So, I mean, main challenges we see it, this is a new technology, okay? It's today not very well understood what is the, let's say, benefits and power that 5G connectivity can bring.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's mainly about that, compared to what is the, let's say, normal operation and technologies used to connect machines in a factory, for example, very much using Wi-Fi and other wireless technologies or cable technologies, right? So it's a bit, being a new technology, you need really to have a lot of educational and training, you know, and this is happening already, by the way. Yeah? So especially in Germany, because again of the allocation of a spectrum, we see lots of proof of concepts already, companies, big companies, but also Mittelstand companies as well trying. So this is already happening, which is really good. Second thing, I believe, perhaps commercial model. I mean, you have to make an investment, right? And you have to see what is the return of that investment. In the end, if you start with a POC, it's something that you can afford probably, but if you want really to go full 5G from now on, and combined with, again, edge and AI, this is a major investment decision that you have to make, okay? And also transformation eventually. And this is, a commercial model is also a bit of a, you know, something that push you back a bit, right? So you have to run your operations, and at the same time you have to consider, okay, how you evolve your plant, okay, into the next generation kind of plant. So there on the commercial model, I would say that because the main, let's say, business of tower companies actually is investing on real estate for the long term. And what we see is, and we see this in our customers, more network operators, but also IoT network operators, for example, as the hardware is becoming more and more general purpose hardware, COTS hardware, basically it's a commodity already. So if there is any possibility also to share that hardware among various users, like we see in cloud infrastructure, for example, in a secure way, that's also something that we are happy to, let's say, invest on and provide a model where basically we could offer a managed service for a private network or a indoor coverage solution, right? So the commercial model also, it's another part that is it's very important. So level of investment, return on investment you have to consider. And there is where I think with the principles of investing in the long term and sharing infrastructure, we can also bring and help unlock the decision or accelerate the decision.
Okay, so it's more finding the business models and the awareness for the benefits of...
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very good summary, yes.
Okay, well, I see there's a question coming in from the net. How do you think the tenant ratio will change over the next years in Germany?
That's a very good question. It will certainly grow, and we are already growing the tenancy ratio. So on ground-based towers, it's relatively easy to get 3 tenants, okay? So with good structural, let's say, designs. On rooftop towers is a bit more complex. There is much more coordination in play that needs to happen in place, etc. But still, I mean, if we look at other markets in Europe, they are much more ahead than Germany in terms of unlocking rooftops and having shared tenancy. So we are, let's say, relatively optimistic that we will be able also on the rooftop portfolio to increase the tenancy. To how much, I can't tell, right? But it's something that we are really pushing. We have some big projects now happening in Germany, and they are mostly co-location projects, right? So this will certainly increase the tenancy ratio.
Okay, okay.
In Germany, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, falls es doch noch Fragen gäbe, wäre jetzt die Gelegenheit. Gut. Okay, so yeah, thank you again, Jaime, and James, sorry. And I know you're still here
will be around
for the day, and
watching also presentations.
Yeah, and who's ever interested in your technology can come to the booth. And
very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye bye. Thanks.